All right. Am I audible?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So, uh, let's get started with session 4. Welcome, everyone. And today we are going to learn about a very important topic. And I would suggest that everyone just pay attention to this and try to go along with me when I go into the live coding part. And this is important because this is a very crucial part. Like this will show how you use how to scroll lists or display items in your application. And in almost all applications, scrolling is necessary. Like every application has something like that will have a scrolling effect, like from Instagram feed, YouTube feed, WhatsApp chat list, chats, everything. All are part of a major service called as a recycler view. So that is what a recycler view means. Recycler view is a library that helps in that will help us in using scrolling, how to using scrolling items in an Android application. We can use scrolling for many purposes, like it will also help us in displaying lists, like large sets of data or any kind of data that you have, a list that you want to show. Recycler view can help us teach that, like implement that, and also it does it in a very efficient manner. It's not a traditional thing, and implementing it can be a little tricky. So when I'll be implementing it, I want everyone to pay attention to it. So today we'll be learning about two things, that is a recycler view and a data class. We'll be learning about data class while we go into the live coding part, but I'll also give a brief of what that exactly is. So starting with a recycler view, as I said, recycler view makes it easy to display large sets of data in a very efficient manner. So we have a library called as recycler view only that if we use it, then I also told you that it saves a lot of memory. So how does it do that? That we have to see in the that is an advantage of it. Right? So okay. So previously, what used to happen is that to display large sets of data, we uh, we had to use something called as a list view. So in a list view, that what we had to do is we just had to give in a coding part, like we had to give in a list which had some items in it, like consider list as an array, and it has some elements, let's say 100, 500 elements, and you just show the list items one by one in your application. Like that's the ideal thing to do, right? To display a list which will scroll further and further. So that worked, but the thing is that it was not dynamic. Like it was not an intelligent software. So what list view did was it did not take into consideration the memory of the phone, of the Android device, or the power consumption, anything. So that is when recycler view comes in. Like as the name suggests, what recycler view does it recycles every element. Consider element as each item in your list, like how each item in your list looks like. That is an element. And like let's say you have an Android device and 10 items are shown at a particular period of time. So what happens is when you try to scroll up or down the list, you will see more items below or above it. But what you don't know is that behind the scenes, what Recycle View does it literally just recycles the element that went off the screen. Like you cannot see it anymore, right? So when that happens, it will reuse that view again, and just like as I said, all the elements are similar, like they look similar. They just need to change the data. So what it does is it reuses the view, and it just brings in the new data for the next items, for the new items. So um, I hope you get it. Like, so every time it reuses, so the size is not static, it's dynamic, and due to that, it improves the app's responsiveness, power consumption, and memory consumption. So, does anyone have any doubt so far, like how Recycler works, before we get in more into it?
Can you repeat it once, please?
We have special the recycling part, please.
Yeah, okay. So consider we have a screen. Okay, consider you have a screen with 10 items. Like okay, consider a chat list. Like you open a chat application and you see 10 users. Like, right, so you have 10 users in a row by row of structure. And suppose the list goes on, like you just have to scroll it, right? So what will happen is once you start scrolling upward, like the list goes down. So what will happen is the item that was in the top part, the view just won't just will not be visible to you anymore. Like it's hidden. Like once you scroll upwards, what will happen is new items start coming from below, and the above views don't are not visible to you anymore. So when that happens, Android knows that the view is not visible in the screen, like it's not part in the screen. So what it'll do, it will just take that view and drag it to the bottom. You cannot see it, but that is exactly what happened. It just reuses that view with the new data. So every time you scroll, the elements that are not visible to you, they are just reused below. So that is how it recycles every individual element in the screen. So like,
Okay, we have got it.
do you get my point? So coming to the implementation of recycler view, there are three things that we need to do to implement a recycler view. So the first one would be the item layout. We need to design an XML. The layout is also again designed in an XML file, and we need to know like what each individual item in the list will look like. We will do it later today. So during this part, I'll also teach you how to use a card view, which is a very sophisticated way of adding lists of using items. Like it will look good. So the first part is designing the layout of each item that you will be considering in a list. Second, after you design the layout file, the layout of each item, then we have to define the data class. Data class is nothing but you can also call it as a model class. So what the data class will do is it just holds the all the type of information, not the exact data, but the type of information that will be needed by each item in the list. So suppose we are, let's take WhatsApp for example. So when you open WhatsApp, you see a list of chats, right? So each element, like each item, is can be called as each can be called as the individual layout for that chat list. So to design, and in each element we have four things, I suppose. So in the data class, we'll have to say that we have an image that will contain an image that will contain the display profile, right? So we have in a data class, we have to define it like we have an image. We will have a name for the contact name that will be of type string. Again, again have a type string for its the last message that you have sent or received from that particular person, and also it shows the time. So just a basic example of what a data class is. Just it will just contain the outline of what each element will hold. The third is the adapter and view holder class. This is the most important part here. Like, this is where it can get tricky, and you just need to understand these two parts. So, adapter and view holder classes are two separate classes that will work together to define how your data is displayed. Like the view, as I said, recycler view recycles every element, right? So how it works in the background, like how it reuses every element, that is done by the adapter and the view holder class. So as it is saying, the view holder is a wrapper around a view that contains the layout for an individual item. So what does it mean? Like, so consider the view holder is a class which for every view or the layout, it will contain all the essential items in the particular list. Like suppose one element has a image, a text, and the third text for the time. Like for WhatsApp, taking WhatsApp for example. So a view holder will have access to all the four attributes in an individual item. And what it will do is for each individual item, the adapter will create a view holder object, and it is the adapter that recycles every element in a view holder object dynamically. And it is in the adapter that you set the new data for every recycled element. We will get into adapter and view holder class in just a minute. Before that, as I said, a data or a model class defines the structure that a particular item will have. So take an example for this user class. Like let's just say we are making a data class called user, and we will just take in his name and his age. So this is how you define a data class. Like it's a single line code that and it starts with a keyword data, and you pass in the parameters in the form of a primary constructor. For every user, I'll use a name and a age. So name will be of type string, and age will be of type integer. So this is how a data class is defined. Coming to the adapter and view holder class, the ada- first we'll go into the adapter class. Like we will create an adapter class that will extend from recycler view.adapter. We'll do it in the coding part, and you'll understand this point. And it is the code this is responsible for handling our dynamic list. And it does it by using three major methods. Like these three methods are like have to be there whenever you implement a recycler view adapter. And don't worry about the naming. These methods will automatically be called, and you can implement them directly in Android Studio. So what you need to know is like what happens in each function in each method. So the first one is Oncreateviewholder. Like I said, view holder class contains the layout of each item, right, in the list. So whenever a new view holder needs to be called, like when I said that once an item goes off the screen, it will be recycled to create a new view holder. So that just consider it as that one. Whenever the adapter thinks that a new item needs to be created, so it will call the Oncreateviewholder function, and it will just define the layout of what each item looks like. Here, the data is yet not updated. Like it just recycles the layout and tells the system that a new object needs to be created of view holder. New view holder object needs to be created. And after this function, then the onBind view holder method is called. In the onBind view holder method, like the old data is updated with the new data. Like suppose when we are scrolling, it always needs to update it with the new data, right? With the new items in the list. So all of that happens in the onBind view holder method. And it says in the onBind view holder method that you can also implement click listeners in your application. Like suppose you want something to happen when you click a particular item, different items. So that will also be done on the on-bind view holder method. And the third point is get item count. Okay. And the third point is get item count. What in this method, the recycler view also needs to know before like in total how many items are there in my list, like the total size of the list, so that it will know when to recycle an item and when to not recycle the item. So in get item count, we just when we pass a list to our adapter, we'll do it. That is when we will just define the size of our list in whole. So after this, we can proceed to the live demo to get a taste of how to use Recycler View. I request everyone to open Android Studio and let's create a new project. And if anyone has any doubt as of now, you can just ask me right now. Everyone has opened Android Studio, right?
Yes.
All right. So as usual, we'll start with creating a new activity. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, it's
Yes,
visible.
well,
Yes, Vijay.
All right. So just pay attention to what I am doing. And once, first of all, let's create the project. We'll wait for it to finish the building part. Okay, now as you can see, my building part is finished, and now we can start with the project. Um, so again, as you can see in my main activity,
why the screen is not shared?
Screen is not visible.
it's not visible.
No.
Oh, sorry. Um, is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visual.
Cool. Okay. So again, we come to the defaults of how Android Studio works. We have so everybody is clear with view binding, right? I had taught about it in the last video. So first and foremost, we'll enable view binding in a build or created module file. All right. You can sync now. So again, like I said, enable view binding before you start with any operations. Like this is a very important part. After enabling view binding, okay, in my PPT, I had told you that we need to like start with the with three things. Does anyone remember the sequence? Can anyone say me what is the first thing that I need to do?
On create view binding, I guess.
Not on create, it is a part of the adapter class. But what is the first thing that I'll need to do? Like just imagine I have to make a list. So what is the first thing that I need to do before
The
starting?
layout.
The layout, exactly. So first of all, we'll create the how each item in a list will look like. So we'll get started. Okay, starting with the layout. We will create a layout in our resources. We have a layout folder here, and in that we will right click on it and create new and go into a new layout resource file. Here we need to give our layout a name. I'll give it item layout, and you can see that the root element is by default is a constant layout. I recommend using constant layout, but if you want, you can change it. Like if I just change it with linear layout, you can see it suggests me that linear layout can be used. But for now, I'll use constant layout only, and I'll click on OK, and you can see it creates a new layout for me. Again, I go into split mode. I'll hide this panel. Okay, now is everyone clear? Can everyone follow with me if I start coding, like putting layouts from the code itself instead of dragging and dropping it?
Oh yeah, can you wait? Project build is not finished yet. I think it is.
Sure, you can just let me know. Has everyone else has everyone else a build has finished? Like Android Studio is ready to go.
Yes, View.
All right, we'll just wait a few minutes.
Yeah, but I'm ready to go.
All right, create a new layout, name it as item layout, and then here is where we will define how each element will look like. Also here today we'll learn how to use a card views. Like card, I'm sure you must have seen card views, but uh, like never know that it's called card view. But once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So inside a constant layout, so now you know that a root layout is constant layout. Like the whole layout will consist of constant layout, and inside that, we'll go inside that, and we'll right away start with a card view. So if you're not comfortable with me using code, you can just let me know so that I can use the palette system. So is there anyone who still doesn't have any idea how to use the coding part?
It's okay, Bhaiya. You can continue with the code.
All right. I'll start with the code, but just know that in the coding part, like where you used to, like if I just drag and drop a card view from the palette, it's in the container folder. If I drag in a card view here, you will see that card view is added here, like in my code. But I'll do it right from the code because I need you to understand how the coding part works here. So, but before that, just know that for starting and ending every layout item, we use these tags like this angular brackets, and this is how you open a new layout item and define a new view type, and this is how the closing tag, like with the forward slash and a closing bracket. Inside it, we need to do whatever we want. So I'll again clear it and start coding on it right away. So I'll start with the Angular opening tag and I'll type in card view. You can see I'm getting a ton of options right here. I'll use card view, and inside it, it directly asks me the width and the height of my card view. For now, I'll put it as both as match parent. And after this, I'll close the tag. Like if I close it like this, like with the directly the slash and my closing parenthesis, like what will happen is we cannot write anything inside card view. What we are going to do is we will define a whole item inside a card view. So to do that, we just have to use this, and you can see it automatically like generates this. This is the new type of closing tag, and inside this, like inside this part, we can add our items which will be inside the card view. So that is even the root layout works like that. The constraint layout opens here. This is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag. Inside the constraint layout, we'll have a card view, and inside the card view, we will have our like an image or a name. So first of all, in this card view, you can see I need to constrain it, like because I'm using constraint layout, I need to constrain it to the parent. So to constrain it, you can see I'm getting let me zoom in. I'm getting four white dots, four anchor points. This in this card view, and I'll just constrain it to the parent. Like I'll just drag and drop to the corresponding side. It's like this. The code should on the left side should also be updated simultaneously. Like it's getting updated as you can see. All right, so once I've put a constraint to my card view, I can start putting my items inside it. And once I do it, you will know what, like how good it will look, a card view, how good it can look. Now, again, inside a card view, it's a whole, we have to first define a layout inside, like the root layout again. So, but this time I'll just be using a title and an image. So instead of I can use constant layout, but for understanding linear layout, I'll start using linear layout now. Again, I'll use the opening tag. I'll type in linear layout. You can see I have linear layout in my option. Again, it asks for for the height and width. I'll put both as match parent. And in the last session, I told you that linear layout is of two types. One can be horizontal and one can be vertical. So I'll always have to give it a orientation attribute. Like if I just type in orientation, it is giving me two options. And for me, my orientation is going to be vertical. And again, inside my linear layout, I'll have two items, like an image and a title, right? So I'll again close this tag. Inside my linear layout, I'll start using my image. So again, instead of dragging and dropping an image, I'll go with an image view. I'll get the image view library. And here I need to define mm, the height and width again of my particular image. So for the width, I'll give it as match parent. But for the height, like how much height one image will be, I'll put it as a normal 256 dp. For now, I'm hard coding it. And for knowing the preview, as you can see right now, if I tap on the image view, you can see I'm getting a division section right here. It's saying that this whole part is the image view. Because it's of 256 dp, it's only showing me that much height. But let's just add some photos. So what I want you to do right now is copy some sample photos from your system and paste them in the resources file. Like I'll do it right now. So I don't think you can see my screen, but it's simple. Just copy some sample images. I have some. I have copied some. Like you just press Control C after selecting them. Open this left panel, and as I said, you can either use this resource manager page and add these items, or in the resource folder here in the drawable, you can add your images. So inside this, I'll paste. I've already copied my images. So, and I'll use the drawable type, not the version 24, but I'll use only drawable. And I'll press enter and then again enter. And you can see some images have been added. These are some sample JPEG files. I want everyone to do the same and just let me know if you are done, because some people might get error doing this because of the naming convention. So you can just add 3 to 4 photos to your image. It doesn't matter which one. You just add 3 to 4 photos for your understanding. And if I double click on image, you'll see the whole image file, but like how it looks. Once everyone is done with this, just let me know so that I can continue. Like add your images in the drawable folder.
भैया पेस्ट कैसे करनी है ड्रॉएबल में या ड्रॉएबल 24 पे
Drawable पे करो. Mind it, after everyone paste your images, uh, some people might get an error, like a red line underneath the image, like underneath the name of the image that you just pasted. So what it means that if is anyone facing this error, I think most of you will face this error.
But I think space is not allowed in image names. That's why it's.
Yeah, anytime, like space is not allowed, hyphen is not allowed. So what you need to do is you don't need to like rename it in your system and then copy it. What you need to do is, if let me say that this Iron Man is getting an error. So what I'll do is I'll right click on it and go into refactor and then rename. Here, you just change the name, and you cannot use capital letters, like uppercase letters are not allowed. You cannot use hyphens. You can see hyphen is not a valid resource name character. It's already showing me. You can use underscore and use all small case. And once you do that, you click on refactor. All right. When you do that, the error should be gone. So let me know if everyone is done with this part. Can I continue further? Is everyone done with this part?
Bhaiya, that red line you told, can you explain it once again?
Are you getting a red line? Like you will be getting something like this, a red
Yes,
line
yes,
error.
I'm getting that.
Yeah, if you are getting, just right click on your image, right click on that particular image, like in your Android Studio, right click, go into refactor, and select rename, and rename your name. Like use something with no numericals, just use small case letters and no hyphens or special characters. You can use underscore and then press on refactor. that error should be gone then. If everyone is done, then I'll continue with it. Continue with creating the layout. So now coming back to the XML part, I had an image view that had a height of 256 dp. Now let us say for preview purposes, like to know how our layout actually looks like. What I'll do is I'll use the src attribute, that is the source, and manually use one image from my preview. Let's say Iron Man. So I'll put in Iron Man here. You can see, I can see it right here in my preview. I can see how it will actually look like once it's done. But you can also see that I have some white borders above and below it, like here and here. That's because the image is not as big as my height. So again, you use the you know about the attribute called scale type. I'll use it scale type and select center crop. And now the image will like resize itself to the specified height and width of my image view. That is what needs to be done so that you can see the preview of how it will look. It will not the exact preview, but it will just show you how it will look. After this, I'll close the tag. And as I don't need anything inside my image view, I can just close it with the slash and closing bracket. Also, this image view needs to change dynamically, right? So this time, this is the data part. So I'll have to give it an ID. So I'll select the ID attribute and give it an ID of IV image. Done. Once my image view part is done, what I'll do is, again, I'll open a tag, and as it is a linear layout, I don't have to set the constraints. It will automatically put image view and then like any item that I use add in a vertical manner. So right now I'll use a text view of type wrap content and wrap content. And for my text view also, I'll use the text attribute to just show like how it looks like. I'll put in Iron Man here. You can see a small text is showing, but I want to make it a bit more in clarity. So what I'll do is I'll change its appearance to large. You just type in large and this whole part should come up. Like it will be auto-completed for you. And I'll also give it a margin of, let's say, 4 dp. Okay, done. I will also give it a text style to make it a bit bold. And after that, that is done, I guess. Also, as text is also a part of the data, I'll have to give it an ID so that I can change it dynamically. So I'll give it an ID of TV title, like just like that. Okay, once this is done, like you can see this. So I'll just say that this is how each item in my recycler view will look like, right? But to make it a bit better, I did told you we will be using card view. So what we can do in card view is uh, card view has some specific properties. But before that, as I've set the image and linear layout, yeah, what we'll do is in the root layout, that constant layout, we'll add some padding to it, like not margin, but some padding. Padding means that like for how much so inside the constant layout we have a card view. So how much dp would it be in the after it creates the element. So if I give it a padding, let's say padding of 8 dp, you can see I have some gap like right here. We'll use it for now, and then You can see that my card view fills up the whole screen, although it doesn't need to fill up that whole screen. So what I'll do is instead, right now, for after I design the layout, I'll change its height from match parent to wrap content so that it will be just as big as my resources like the image and the text. So you can see if I press on the card view, it is showing this blue rectangle. So this is how big one item will be. But again, as it is a card view, you can see if I zoom in, you can see a little shadow part right here. We can edit this card view to look much better. What we can do is we add in an attribute. Again, inside this card view, I'll give it a background color so that you can define, like it's getting just dissolved with the background. So I'll give it a background tint and of let's say till 700. You can see like this part changed. That's because the top part is covered with my image and there is no margin to my image. So that's why the top part doesn't show. But the whole card view, like this part has a background of this color, that teal 700 that I just mentioned. And now if I want like this text color doesn't look nice. So inside my text view again, I can change its color to let's say white. Yeah, better. After this, as we will be using some advanced things, so what we can do is also set a radius to our card view. So in our card view again, in my card view, I'll in the new line, I'll just type in radius, and I have a attribute called card corner radius. And if I give it something like let's say 10 dp, you can see the corners become rounded and become like they look much better right now. And also we have an elevation feature that will showcase that it is elevated from the screen. So if I just give it another attribute of card elevation, mind it, there are two elevation, like elevation and a card elevation. Use the card elevation and give it again a value of 4 dp. Now it will be elevated from the screen for 4 dp, and you will see the difference when you actually run the application. Also, it is always a good practice to use another attribute when you are using card view. It is called use compact padding. Just make it true always. Like it will always help the shadow of the card view look much better after you set it. After you set some elevation, always remember to use this particular file. Okay, done. Now you can see that this is how one element in our recycler view will look like. Once this is done, you can see the whole it is coming in the center part. We also don't need it. To change it, what we will do is we change the height of card view from match parent to wrap content. Similarly, the constraint layout, this is taking the whole screen, right? The constraint layout. We don't need the whole screen. We again, after setting the whole layout, we'll change its height from match parent to wrap content. And now you can see if I tap on constraint layout here, only like only this, you can see this blue line. So this is where the constraint layout ends. So only this part is how much my each item will take. So now my item is created and it's ready to go. So now to see how each the item will look when in a list file, I told you. So this is the layout for
Yeah,
each
can you
item.
wait? We are having difficult time to follow. Can you just wait a minute?
Yeah, sure.
And please zoom out the code so we can see everything and so that we can.
You want me to zoom in?
No, zoom out so that the whole code can be seen at once and so.
Okay. I don't think I can
Yeah,
zoom out anymore.
yeah, just.
Should I just paste this code for some people, like if you're not able to understand or see the code properly?
Yeah, paste it in the chat box. It will be good.
Sweet. So I'll put the
Bhaiya,
yeah.
that image file,
Hmm.
it was showing normal a little back again, but now it's showing red once again.
Which part?
That image file that you said to from the refactor, we have to change that, we have to rename it, but
Yeah.
it's showing a red line once again.
Try changing the name again. There must be some error. Is it showing in the resources folder, like here, on the left side?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, try changing the name again. Maybe it's duplicated or something like that. Also, make sure the image size is not too large. Just use normal sample images. And your name might be different. So in my case, I'm using Iron Man. You can use any image that you're using.
No, it's still red after
Okay, you
changing
can
name also.
send me the screenshot in the Discord. Okay. I don't think Google Meet will support this long code, so I'll put it in Discord. Everyone is there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm putting it on Discord in the ASJ discussion channel. You all can take it from there.
This is for the item layout, right?
Yeah, this is for item layout. Rishabh, are you in the meeting?
Yes, Satyajit bhaiya.
Can you check someone had an error in his naming the image.
Has it send it in the Discord?
I don't think so, not yet.
Okay, I am checking if he has sent it.
Yeah, please take it. So should I continue now? Is everyone done with it?
Yes, bhaiya.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Now we'll just see this is how each item will look like. Now, let's say I want to see how it will look in a list. So in my activity main.xml, this was the default hello world text view that I had. I'll delete it. And as I said, recycler view is directly a library. So I'll use the opening tag in my activity main inside my config layout and just type in recycler view. You can see I'm getting a recycler view library right here. I'll put that for now. I'll use match parent. I'll put some constraints to it. Like a constraint to each side of the parent. And I don't need anything inside my recycle view. So the closing tag will be like this. Just what needs to be done is I'll give it an ID. I'll just give it an ID of recycle view. Nothing fancy. Then you can see once you use this recycle view, you'll see item 0, item 1. Can everyone see this? Like, does anyone see this part? Like item 0, item 1 till item 9.
Yes.
Yes, bhaiya.
Yeah. So now we'll just replace this with our layout. How to do that? We'll select item, and here you have two attributes. We'll go into list item, and here I'll see my item layout is showing up. And if I select that, you can see my whole view is filled with that type of layout that I just designed. And this is how it will look when I use it in a recycler view. So this is a preview of how it will look like in a list. All right. And that is it. That is how you just implement a um, recycler view library. And it is done for this part. Like right now, we are done with the first part. And the second part was the data class, right? So initializing after knowing what each item will look like, we'll create a data class for each item. So to create a data class, we'll create a class, normal class. So how do you create a class in Kotlin in Android Studio? You'll go into this application. You'll go into this Java folder. Here in the first subfolder, you'll have your main activity.kt. This is your main activity class, but what we need to add another activity to it. So I'll right click here, new, and here I'll go into Kotlin class of file, new Kotlin class of file, and I'll name it. So I'll name it my just item, like item model class. And as you can see, I have tons of type like class, file, interface. And as it is a data class, I'll go into data class, and then I will select enter. So you can see it gives me the data attribute. It gives me the class name as item. And currently it's empty, like one primary constructor, it's empty. But we need to initialize it first. So to do that, what do you think? Like, can anyone just take a guess of what, just looking at this item, what attributes do I need to put in my data class?
Image view and text view.
Image view and text view are the type of item, but what are these? In like, let me say that image view is nothing but will be a type of integer type. And similarly, an item that is a text view, the attribute, the value will always be of a string type. It will be a string type. So in my item, I'll need to have two add parameters. Like one will be of val. I'll start doing it like val title. I'll give it a name of title, and it will be of string type. And another will be value image, and it will be of type int. That's it. My data class is done. So now I know that each item in my list will have a title of type string and an image of type int. I'll tell you why I'm using type integer right now. Like when I create a dummy list, I'll let you know why I'm using a type int for the image. So once everyone has completed their data class creation, we'll go into the most important part of our implementing a recycler view. Like, can anyone say what it is? Like, what was the third and the last part that we need to do to implement a recycler view? Does
The
anyone remember
adapter
the
and the
name?
view holder class.
Exactly, the adapter and the view holder class. Again, I'm saying it as a class, but so again, in my left side, I'll go into new. Like in my first subfolder inside Java, I have my item and my main activity class. And again, create a class that will be a adapter. Again, I'll go into a new Kotlin class or file. Here, I will give it a name of item adapter. It will be of class type, and I press enter. And I'm done. Like the class is created. Inside the class, I'll have to pass in some values, like as a constructor type. I'll give it some brackets, and inside it, I'll pass two things. The adapter, first of all, takes the list. I told you, the adapter will know beforehand how many items are there in my list.
भैया
Yeah,
इसकी जो टाइप होगी वो डाटा क्लास होगी अडेप्टर वाली की भी?
no, it's a normal class. It won't be a data class.
ओके.
All right. So inside our adapter, we just taken two parameters. I'll let you know why we are taking that. Like first will be a private val. We'll take in the context of our application. Will be of type context, and I'm naming it context. And a second parameter that would again be a private, and this time I'll be taking a list. Like I'll name it as item list, and it will be of type list. Like we have a type of list, and using two angular brackets, I'll assign the type of each element in the list. And if you can guess, like that each type of item in the list, like can it be an integer type or a string type? For this time, we'll be using of item type. An item is the and okay. Make sure if you're using item name, you are using the item for our application and not this option that has android.content.clip data. We are using this item that we just created. So what it says is that uh, this is a item list will have it will be a list which will contain items of type item. And in our item, we had just described in an item is a data class which has two attributes like a title and a string and an image. So once we pass these two values inside it, as I said, adapter needs to, in my PPT, I had shown you adapter needs to extend from recyclerview.adapter. So I'll extend it like use columns and then extend using recyclerview.adapter. Just remember this syntax. This is important. Like this is what you need to understand. And again, inside these angular brackets here, I'll pass the name of my adapter. And inside here only we will be creating our view holder class. We don't have to create it separately. So I'll use item adapter, that is the name of my adapter, dot, and I'll give it the name of view holder. Like this is the name of my view holder. Like I'll give it name of view holder itself. Right now, and you can see I'm getting two errors. Like here I'm getting a red line, and here I'm getting a red line. For the right side, it is saying that if I tap on Alt plus Enter, it will show me the context. Yeah, what is it's saying? Okay, so after that, I'll have after the view holder and closing bracket, I'll have to use these two empty brackets. And after this, I'm getting the view holder as red. This means I'll have to create that view holder class. Before that, remember I told you that we have three major methods in an adapter class, right? So you can see once I hover my pointer over it, like it is saying me to implement members. If I tap on it, you'll see the same three. You'll see the same three methods that we have. But before implementing them, we first need to implement our view holder class. So I'll go into my view holder here. I'll press Alt plus Enter. A context menu shows up. You can also open this context menu by right clicking on it and pressing on Show Context Actions. And it is just suggesting me to create a class view holder. That is exactly what we need to do. If I tap on it and I type, instead of using a separate file, I'll create my view holder inside my item adapter class itself. As you can see, I have now inside it, I have a new class called view holder. After you like create your view holder, it is important to like know what other, like, I'll give some space. And now I'll implement my three methods that I had told you about, like for the item adapter. Again, Alt plus Enter, implement members, and select all the three. Like you press Shift and you select all the members, all the three methods, and you press Enter. And as you can see, all my three methods have been invoked, and now we are good to go. We have all the three like important methods: on create, on bind, and my get item function, get item count. Now, before we do this part, my view holder, as I
भैया
said, view holder, yes,
शॉर्टकट क्या था? Alt?
Alt plus enter, like Alt enter, and you'll get the context options. Okay. So in my class, as I told you, view holder will take in how each the layout of each item. So how do we get a layout of any item? Like if I have my item layout, how I'll get access to these attributes like this title and this image, this text view, image view. How will I get the access to these? We use again, here's where again view binding comes in. We will use view binding. So here I'll with my view holder class inside braces, I'll pass my viewing object. Like I'll give it a name, access of private val. I'll name it binding, and I'm automatically getting a suggestion of using item layout binding. I'll use that, and again it will extend with it will return with recycler view. It will also like the view holder. It will again also like I told you, no, it will once it attaches itself to the layout, it will return me a file of that same view type. So if you don't understand it, it's okay. Like if you cannot remember this definition, but you should just know how to create an adapter, what item it takes, it returns, and how to place a view holder and what to pass inside it. And inside our view holder, like inside these places, we'll need to pass the root of our like file, root of our layout. Done. Now we can start writing some code. So first we'll start with the view holder part. Inside our view holder, you remember we have two items. Like consider view holder contains the layout of each item. For me, my layout has two main things like the image and the title, right? So to access these two, what we can do is inside my view holder, I'll just use something called as val. Let's say title equals to binding dot TV title. That was the ID of the text view that I had given assigned to it. That is why we had used. I told you like we need to assign IDs to these things. Also for image, I'll be setting the image. Done. That's it. We don't need to specify the type or anything right here. It will automatically understand what we are doing. Now your view holder class is done. This is just how you create your view holder. After the view holder comes in, you need to first get the binding of that item layout. Again, like this binding, you need to get it from your adapter so that you can create, it can add data to it, like it can update its data. So to do that, before going into these three functions, once we are completed with these three functions, very easy to like implement. Like 90% of the recycler view part is done. This is where the main trick is. So inside my item adapter, I'll create a new variable called binding of item layout type, item layout binding. That binding object is automatically created for me. And okay, it is showing red because right now I have not initialized it to anything. What I need to do is I'll have to use a late init, like private late init var. Late init means that it's a guarantee that I will be initializing this variable sometime in the code. It won't be null. So once you get this binding
भैया
variable, yeah,
भैया टाइटल किसकी आईडी थी? जो
text
आपने
view, like this part.
ओके ओके
the ID you can change it to your wish. Like it doesn't matter what you do. Just make sure that you use the same ID when you assign these values to it. Like in my view holder, I'm saying that whenever I want to use this title attribute, I mean my items like my binding, TV title layout, that is my text view. And it's obviously like if your layout changes, like I am only using an image and a title, your layout can differ from like however you want it to, like one image, three text views, no images. Like just you just need to know what you are dealing with. Now after this, we'll start with the Oncreateviewholder part. That is the first function that we need to complete. And here we'll just assign the binding variable with its value. So I told you, Oncreateviewholder is called whenever we need to create a new viewholder object. So before our viewholder object takes in a binding type as a parameter. So before calling it, we need to assign this binding variable. So we have something called item binding layout.inflate. Go into this inflate option, and inside it, use layout inflated.from. This is just the format that you need to like know. It's okay if you can just remember it. Even I just remember it. Comma parent, and then use false parameter like attached to parent form. This is how you assign the binding for adapter, and this is different from how you use it in an activity. Like in a main activity, when we'll use this binding, we use a different syntax. Some syntax can be different for different purposes. And now after we have assigned our binding object, we'll return it. As like my function on create view holder returns a type of view holder class. So I'll return view holder, that is the name of my view holder class, and along with it I'll pass in my binding variable. Done. Now my on create view holder part is done. After it, I'll come to on bind view holder. This is where after each new layout is created, I'll update the values. Like here is when the values get updated to each item, like coming from a list. And I told you I'll tell you why I'm taking two parameters, like context and my item list. This item list, I'll assign it as a dummy list for now in my main activity, and from there I'll pass this item list as a parameter. This item list will contain all the items that I want to put in my list, and here is where I'll update the values. So for every current item, I'll take it a name and give it a name of current item equals to, for my list, I'll take my item list, and it's we have for every on bind view holder, we have a position variable that gives us the position of each element. So my current item will be item the this particular item from my list. Once I get my current item, I can start putting values to it. And and as I said, my view holder holds the layout for every item. So I'll have a holder item right here. It's already implemented right here. I just have to invoke it. So holder dot, and here is why I'm getting like image and a title here, right here. It's because I have like initialized them here. For every view holder type, I'll have a title and an image, which are directly referencing to my text view and my image view. So that is how I can use them here. So holder dot title, and here how I'm setting directly the values to these items. Dot text equals to current item, like coming. It is I'm getting the value from the current item, which I'm getting from item list dot, and it my current item also has a title and an image. And this title and image is nothing but we are getting it from my item data class. As you can see, my every item type has a title and image. So that is what this current item dot title refers to. Because each item in my list is of type item. Like I defined it as type item here. So that's how I'm using a type item. I'm able to use current item dot title. Similarly, for my image, folder dot image, that is for my image view, I want to change my image. And for image, we have a set image resource. Like for text views, we have a dot text equals to function to directly assign it a text. For image, I'll use set image resource, and you can see it takes in integer type of resource ID. So I'll use that. And here, what I'll do is for my current item, I'll use its image. And that is why I took image as an integer type in my data class, because it always takes an integer type, like the image resource part. Done. This is all what needs to be done in our adapter class. If okay, no, one function is left, the last function, that is the get item count. So here we'll simply return integer type. You will see it returns an integer type that will return the size of the total size of the list. So my list name is item list. So I'll just return item list dot, and I have a size attribute. That's it. It will return it. Now the adapter will know how much uh, size my list, how like what size what is the size of my list. That's it. That is the whole thing. That is the whole way of how you use an item. You implement an adapter class and a view holder class for your recycler view. Does anyone have any problems here?
We're gonna share this code on Discord.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. I've shared it on. I've shared it on Discord. Does anyone have any doubt right here?
What is the purpose of Oncreate?
Uh, Here, this part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what this does is this function is called whenever a new, like as I said, recycler view recycles every item that is not visible to you, right? Like once you scroll, the above part is not visible to you. So it gets recycled and a new to with a new data, right? So what onCreate will do is once the system understands, okay, like you are scrolling, and the above element is not shown to you, like it's not visible anymore. So it will reuse it, and it will reuse by calling and by neither by destroying it, and it will not store it in the memory, the item. It will recycle. It will reuse the view holder object. So when it knows that a new item needs to be generated, this function is then this function is called on create view holder, and my binder, and it just has the layout of what each item contains. Like binding is like you can see the my layout is of type item layout binding, and in that I have these two attributes like image and my text view, whatever I'm using in my item. So whenever a new view holder object is created, it will take in my binding object, and then and that is how it will know like the structure of each layout in my item. So
So
did you get
basically,
my point?
it restores. Yeah, it basically restores after we scroll each and every item.
Yes. And after it does that, now it just contains the layout of the file. To add in the new data, let's say we have a list of from 1 to 100. For the first time when you can to open the application, you can only see 1 to 10. The moment you scroll it, when you see the 11th part, that is not the part of like it is not a it is created dynamically. Like the one when you scroll upwards, let's say the one part is not visible to you anymore. When you start to scroll, so that one part again comes down, and now this part is then called like the Oncreateviewholder. It has the structure of the layout, but it doesn't need to show you one like the value needs to be updated. Like say you are using 10, and the next value should be 11. So to update the data after onCreateViewHolder, this function is called onBindViewHolder. Here, every new viewholder object that we create, like it gets the updated data, and this is how you update its data part. Here is where we update the data. So, did you get my point?
Yeah.
Okay. Now all our implementation part is done. Now all we need to do is create a list, just a dummy list for now. And inside now we will come into the main activity. Like here, I'll just implement the recycler view. Like once everything is set up, I'll just say that implement my show my recycler view right here, and you can see that my app will run. So first of all, using view binding. So before set content view, I'll assign my binding object, and this is a main activity, you inflate it by just going to the type inflate layout inflator. That's it. And my set content view, I'll replace it with binding.root. I hope everyone is clear with this part. Like this part was done in the last session. Once this is done, like this part is if this part is clear to you,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the last script, that is item adapter.kt, I am getting an error that item layout binding is not defined.
If you're getting an error, try just importing it. Like right click on it, show context option, and you should be able to get the option to import.
Okay, okay.
And then that error should go away.
Where it's just showing to create class, not showing option to import.
So that
I
means
think
this part is not created. If you're not getting a binding object, like where are you getting this object? Can you tell me here? Are you getting it right
uh,
here
no, the item
or
binding.
here?
Yeah, this one. This one.
Have you enabled view binding in your Android system?
Yeah, I forgot and I enabled just now. Build features view binding equal to true.
Do you have this line in build.gradle?
Yeah, I did it just now and synced it, but it's not
Yeah, if you're
moving.
synced in, just do one thing. Go here in the status bar, go into build and tap on rebuild. It will rebuild your project, and see if also after that you get an error. Like try implementing it again. Like try clearing that line, item layout binding line, and then
Yeah.
implement it again.
Who had to rebuild the project? Can you say that?
Go into build. Here you'll have an
Yeah.
option to build, rebuild right here.
Okay, well, yeah.
All right. Now, continuing into our main activity part, like this is the last part of what we need to do. Here, as I told you, we'll be using a different kind of uh, dummy list. So for the dummy list, I'll just create it quickly. Create init var. I'll name it dummy list. Again, now it will be of array list type, but each item will be of type item. Like, do you get my point? This is my binding data class, and the whole dummy list is of type array list. once you create the dummy class, what you need to do is instead of writing my code in the onCreate function, I will give it a new function like init data function. You can see it's showing me errors. That's because init data, there is no function init data. Now either I'll manually create it using the fun keyword, or if I just hover my cursor over it, it gives me an option to create the function init data. And if I tap on it, you'll see that I have a new option right here. It will automatically do it for me. Inside my init data function, I'll just put some, dummy values to my dummy items to my list. And that is why all the pictures that you just pasted in your drawable file will come to use for now. So what I'll do is first, as it was a late init var, so I'll have to initialize it. So dummy list. First, I'll like give it an empty list, like just equals to array list. That means it will just create a new array list, which will be empty before. And after that, I'll just keep on adding items to it. To add items to it, I'll just we have the function called as dot add. So dummy list dot add, and inside that I'll have it will be of type item. So of item type, and now you can see it asks me to use two things: give it a title and give it an image. So here I can give it a title of whatever I want. Let me just say I want to use the first one. I'll use Iron Man. For the second attribute, I'll use an integer. So integer image. So now I'll access these images that I have just pasted. To use them, we use something called R, that is the resource, that is the dot. We have it inside our drawable folder, right? So drawable dot. Now you can see I'm getting access to all my images that I pasted. So here I'll select Iron Man. Done. That is how now one item is added to my list. And to do it multiple times, I'll just duplicate these lines. You can duplicate a line just by being on it and pressing Control D. Then it will duplicate that exact line anytime you want. And here I'll change the values. So from Iron Man, let's say, just give it some random name. I'll give it a random name and I'll change my image. So I want everyone to quickly do this. Like for you, the value can be different, the image can be different. Do it as per you want. I'll just add 5 to 6 items in my list quickly. You can also reuse a particular file. It doesn't matter. Like, it can be however you want it. Just do it quickly. And just for showing that we can, reuse a file, I'll use Iron Man again in the last. I'll just change the name. All right. So I'll just let my dummy list be like this for now. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 items. So is everyone completed with doing this part? Just look at it carefully and you can add your list accordingly.
We are getting an error in view binding which states that view binding exceeds its access rights
Where are you getting this error?
in Gradle script.
Yeah, that is fine. It's not an error. I don't think it's an error. Like here, yes, this is not an error.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a suggestion. It's just a suggestion. You can ignore it.
All right, but
It's not an.
after that also I rebuilt the item layout to binding is giving an error and it doesn't show option to input. It's that gives option to create the class.
Is your name changed? Like for me, it's item underscore layout, all small. So
Yeah.
that is why I'm getting item layout binding type. If you're not
Mhm.
getting, just clear, as I told, just clear this line and start implementing like it again. You should be able to get an item layout binding type.
Okay, okay, I'm trying. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Private latent.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I get it. I'm trying.
Okay. Everyone else, can I continue further? Like my initial data is completed right now. Is everyone okay if I just proceed further? Has everyone understood how to add items to the list? Can I
No,
just
Bhaiya.
can you repeat
No, Bhaiya. Could you tell me please again how
which
to
part
add a how to
are
add
you
a
asking?
images to an array list?
Images? Uh, have you first copy pasted all the images that you want in your drawable folder?
Yes, Bhaiya.
So you can directly access them using the mm, dot operators. Like as you can see, I in my init data function for the first line, like my line 24, I have used dummy list dot add. The name can be different, like whatever that you want. Dummy list dot add, and it is of item type because of my data class that is of item dot kt. So item, and inside brackets, it needs two parameters. That's because I'm saying these are two parameters because it is exactly how I created my data class. It takes this item class takes in two parameters. One is a title of type string, and one is an image of type int. So that is exactly what I'm giving it, a title of type string, that is Iron Man, and an image of type int. Like whenever you access a image, the r.drawable.ironman, this is just the name of my file, right? You can see I have ironman.jpg, laptop.jpg. I'm just using the names of the files. So behind the scenes, these are of integer type. So that is why I had used my int type while creating my data class. And this is that's how I add an image to my list. Can you follow this part?
But yeah, the item binding layout is fixed, but now it's having an error uh, in the part that says holder dot title dot text equal to current item dot.
What does it say? Like, have you done this part?
Yeah, it's gone. I don't know where it came from, and now it's gone.
Okay.
Let's.
Okay. So continuing, after I initialize my data, like my data part is done. Now, just what I need to do is I need to pass this list, like this dummy list, to my adapter along with the context. Like you can see, my item adapter class takes in two parameters. One is a context, and another is the item list. So I'll pass these two parameters. To pass these, uh, I'll pass them like straight away. Again, instead of doing it inside my onCreate, I'll use another function called a setup recycler view function, and I'll again create it. Here I'll pass my adapter with my parameters and just set up the adapter for my recycler view. and then our data should show up. So the first thing that you need to do is set the adapter, right? So I had in my recycler view, I had given it an ID of recycler view, right? So I'll just access it binding dot recycler view, and here we have an attribute for every recycler view. We have an attribute of adapter, and I'll set it to my adapter that I had created. This item adapter equals to item adapter, and inside it, I told you I'll pass two parameters. It's also showing me to pass context and the item list. So I'll pass in the context, and as we are using an activity, just be inside this will be my context, and as my list, I'll pass my dummy list. Done. Now my adapter will get the dummy list, and also for recycler view, you need to set the layout manager of how you want it to show. Like I'll create a new value called layout manager equals to we have three types of layout managers in recycler view. Like we have a linear layout manager that will just show values in a linear format. We have a grid layout manager that will show, the name suggests, the layout will be in grid type. And we have a third type called as a staggered, like the height and width can vary from item to item. For now, we will be using a linear layout, and as a inside the constructor, it is an abstract class, so we just have to invoke it with this context. And by default, it will be of vertical type. So simple. Once I create my layout manager, I'll set that layout manager with my recycler view. So this again, accessing my recycler view dot layout manager equals to the layout manager that I just created. And after this, the last function the attribute that you need to invoke is every recycler view has fixed size attribute to true. This is just for making your application run more efficiently. And once you are done, we are now done with everything. And if I run the application, if I run my application right here, uh, I should be able to see these items that I had in my dummy list in the form of a list.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
Why is the private word keyword coming in front of fun?
Where?
No, while defining a function, why the private keyword is coming?
I'm using private because by default the access specifier is public in every class. So I'm defining it as private to make this application more secure. Like no other class or object can access this particular function outside of this class. Like this setup
Yeah,
recycler view
okay.
function will be a part of this particular activity only. So as you can see here, we go. I have all my items that I had added. My last item was Iron Man Mark II. My first item was Iron Man, and so this is how I have every item in my list. And it works just fine. So you should be able to have this running right now. And if everyone was able to do this, then just let me know so that I can just tell you one last thing before winding up this today's session. Like one last important bit, and then we'll wind up.
Yes, we are, but can we add buttons to it?
Exactly.
when we click
That's what I was going
right
to
below.
say. Exactly. That is exactly what I wanted to say in the last. As due to the time constraint, we won't be able to implement it, but I'll be happy to just tell you how to do that so that you can do it on your own. So once, can everyone just confirm that you are getting the list like as you wanted it? So is everyone done with this? Should I just proceed further with how to implement this on-click listener on every item?
Yes, I guess.
All right. So one important thing, like how do I implement on-click listener on each item here? So we do that in our adapter class inside our on find view holder. What we'll do is after we have updated the data, I'll simply put a set on click listener to our holder item. So here holder dot uh, item view, and when I'm referring to item view, I'm referring to the whole to the all the to the whole item, like the whole layout of each item in general. And after that, we'll have a set on click listener function for it. If I set it, and now I can do whatever I want right here. So I'll just use a toast function, and that is where we will be taking the help of the context. That is where past context also with item adapter. This is where I've wanted to use it. And to understand how it got clicked, so I'll just use the value of each item. So holder dot title, and I'll get clicked. Done. So this one line uh, is how a toast is made. And now if I just again run my application, now if I click on any file, then I should be able to see the toast with the title. So now if I click on each item, all right, okay, sorry, I'm getting the text view. Holder.title.text, right, to get the text from the title. This is just the title was referring to the text view. So I want to get the text attribute from that text view. So I'll use the dot text function again. Now if I run my application, if I tap on an object, an item, you can see the cappuccino clicked. Like you can see, like this is how we get a on-click listener for every item in our list. If you want, I can share the code for adapter as well as the main activity. Um, okay, so once this is done, let's say you have a specific button in your each like in every item you have a specific button, and you want to invoke something or want to pass a variable or go to another page. After you click on the button of each item, you just add a button to your item, and to refer to it again in your adapter, you refer it here in the view holder. And once you do that, in the on bind view holder, what you can do is holder dot then you would be having the you could access the button right here. Then you could select the button, and then from there you can use the on click listener again to set on click listeners on that particular button of each item. And from here also, like you can navigate to other pages like using an explicit intent, and you could also pass variables to them. Uh, to so right now the list is already dynamic, and let's say we want to you add or remove we want buttons to add or remove some items. We can simply do that just by placing some buttons in our layout, like in the main activity main, and here we can just implement some function Like as we can see, we are adding a list, right? So you can put it like you place a button here that on placing it, that on pressing it, the dummy list will add a file to a dummy list, and then again pass in it as again set the adapter to the new list, and then the new item would show up. Similarly, you can also remove an item. Right. So am I clear with this? So this will be the end of today's session. Does anyone have any doubt?
Where can you show the activity main XML file once?
Yeah, I'm sending. This is the code for. I'm sending in Discord. This is the code for the class item adapter. For main activity, this is the code. Don't worry about the import part. Like they are done. They are done automatically. Okay. I've sent the code for the main activity. Uh, does anyone need anything else? Any other part of the code?
Yeah, I'm getting
And
an error in error again. It holder dot title dot text current
hmm,
item in a item adapter KT.
okay,
I'm
what
getting
I
an error that on result reference title.
yeah, unresolved exception. That means that either you have done this part, like you have named it wrong. Like if I change it in my view holder, if I change it from title to let's say tile, you can see that I'm getting a here error right here, unresolved reference because the name is different. So if you're
I'm
getting
ge-
it here, like
yeah.
here, that means that for your current item, for every item in your list, this is my title. This is the name. Now, if I change this to tile from my data in my data class, in my adapter, there should be an error. Like, are you getting something like this?
No, in item dot kit it's fine. I have a item and image. Its spelling is correct.
Okay. Then where exactly are you getting this error?
Yeah, in this title where you have placed your mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, that would mean that either your this part is the list type is wrong, or you are using some different name for your item. You can send me the code in Discord if you want me to check it out.
Okay. Okay.
And if you need, I can send the zip file of this whole project uh, so that you can download it and check each
Yeah, bhaiya, it will be.
element it's there, right? Does anyone need any other code?
So can you show the activity main XML file once?
Sure. It just has a single item. That's recycle view. So I'm stopping the presentation for Android Studio right now. All right. So so today's session ends right here. Like, so after this, you can complete up to Unit 2, like complete all the pathways from Unit 1 and Unit 2. You can see the and next session would be on December 20th, 7 p.m. Also on 20th December, uh, we have a special announcement for you guys. Um, we will have a special sponsor, like we have partnered with a company, and we will be announcing about them on after the session on 20th. So I would request everyone to like join in for the session. And up till then, also on 20th, we will be giving you a new form or new Google form where you can submit all your uh, badges. But for now, you can use the same link to come. Just for now, you just need to submit till Unit 2, Pathway 1 and Pathway 2. Uh, and if you haven't done already, just make sure that you do it before the session on 20th. I'm all again sharing the link on Discord. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. Like about the next session, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask me.
Regarding this, like we can submit it on 20th before 12, right?
Before the link will stop getting responses from 7 p.m. So
Okay,
I would
17.
suggest, yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
make sure you submit your badges by then. And after the session on 20th, I guess you guys are having some exams, so we will be giving you some time. But in between, we will also be announcing two things like some special sponsorship. Again, also with we will be announcing the next phase of our ASJ. So make sure you stay tuned on 20th. Does anyone have any doubt? GCP, this is not a part of Google Cloud program, Nishan. Will we get a final list with people who submitted? No, uh, that is not how it will work. But once you submit your badges, we are already tracking it. Like on 20th, we will be tracking for the first phase, and from 20th, we'll be sharing another link to get the new trackers. Like till 20th, I'd suggest that you just complete till Unit 2, Pathway 2. Like till that you can complete, and after that we will proceed further with the next phase. On 20th, so in total there will be 3 announcements like, for the new link and our surprise sponsorship, like, and also for the next phase of what we are going to do, like after the session.
But yeah, just a personal question. When did you start learning this Android coding thing?
I guess I was in 11th grade when I started with Android.
Yeah, because we are having difficult time. Means I am personally I am doing everything what you have told, but can't recall anything or can do it on own. Like
Yeah, no, it's sure. Like it will take some time, but with experience you'll get the hang of it. I know how difficult it can be, but I'm trying my best here. Like to
yeah, yeah.
complete a certain aspect within the time constraint.
Bhaiya,
Yeah.
where this certificate can be used, like the certificate we get from
Uh, you will
after
be
completing
getting
the
a
course.
certificate for completing the course. See, you will be getting 2 certificates. Like one is for the participation, and the other will be the AAD, like the Android Associate Developer Certificate. You'll get the AAD certificate once you will get the discount for the AAD certificate once you complete all the units in the course, like in the basic Kotlin course. And for being an Android developer, it is a very renowned certificate. Like it will just prove that yes, you are someone like who knows Android and are an expert in it and is an expert in it. And when you want to get into this domain, like that certificate will hold a lot value, will have a lot value in it. If you just show that yes, you are an AD, like you're an associate Android developer.
But yeah, what is the validity of discount? Like we complete the course in suppose example next 1 or 2 months. Up to when we will get the discount if we apply the exam?
No, you will be getting the discount after after the session. if I see that yes, some people have completed all the units with all the 16 pathways and have got all the 16 badges, then you will be able to like get a reimbursement on that certificate fees, like up to one. It's a total of 159 or 149, I guess. But out of that, you'll get $120 discount, fully reimbursed by Google, if you are a part of Android Study Jams and you have completed all the 16 units within this event.
No, no,
And
like up to when we can get it. Like, I'll suppose I want to
That
work
will
on
be
it. And,
yeah, then it will be suggested like after the event, like after 1-2 months, you will have to take the exam, and before the stipulated date, you have to uh, like give your exam before the date. But it will be 1-2 months after the exam, after the event.
okay.
the exam will be based on this app development only, Android app development.
Yes, the first thing that you need to know is that this whole exam will be based on the basics in Kotlin course. Like all the units that you complete, I suggest that for me, I'm like teaching you all the basics part, like of how you get into it, and using some live interactions part to give you a good understanding. But like when you complete the units, it will be a little more detailed, obviously. But you just need to understand like what is going on. And again, if you have any doubt, just feel free to ask us in our ASJ discussion channel.
Will we get some projects to do also?
That will be announced in the next phase. You just have to wait till 20th, 2 more days. Fragment navigation. Okay, yes, that's a good question, Chaman, and we will be completing navigation components on 20th. The next session will will cover navigation components, and that is when you will learn about fragments and everything. So, anyone have any more questions? If not, then you can just leave the meeting, and I'll end the meeting right here.
But yeah, in the main activity file, the recycler view is showing an error in this line.
What is it showing?
Binding dot recycler view dot adapter. That's the recycler view showing an